Let's move on to the 5 takeaways and see what 5 things we did take from the 2-1 defeat at Molineux yesterday. And the first one is brilliant Ben. Well, if I do say so myself.
Exactly. Ben's player ratings are absolutely... No, I'm joking. I have to say, Ben Davies was absolutely phenomenal yesterday, in my opinion. Playing at centre-back as well in a back 2, which is a position, in my opinion, that he hasn't played that many times, usually playing in a back 3. But the numbers, I think, say it for themselves in terms of how good he was. 5 out of 5 ground duels won, completed 4 out of 5 long passes, 3 clearances, 5 block shots, 2 interceptions, 3 tackles, and had a 94% passing accuracy as well. Really stepped up in the role when we were, with the defenders who were missing. Still, even at his best, I still obviously not at the level of the players who are missing, but I think he overperformed what we usually see from him in that position. So really, really good from Davis.
Yeah, I was impressed with him yesterday, but I'm still worried massively over the next 3 or 4 games how we're going to survive with the likes of Davis, Dyer in the back line, really, to be honest. And look, I've always said that I rate Ben Davis in terms of a squad player, but it's when you have to start him week in, week out is when the problems arise. I think he can step in for one game here, 1 game there and do it, but it's over the long stretch of time, which, we're really going to come unstuck with Ben Davis. And look, we did come unstuck yesterday, but I think that was more down to the other defensive players than Ben. So you got to give him credit for the performance that he did put in yesterday, but still worrying times ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second takeaway, and that is attacking struggles.
Yeah, and yesterday, obviously, it's no a secret how we really struggled to get the ball forward and struggled to make a dent in Wolves' defence and puts 2 passes together. And the stats really speak for themselves in terms of how much we struggled. It was our lowest tally of the season for shot-creating actions, shots, touches in the opposition penalty area, and our lowest XG as well. And
what was our XG yesterday?
I think 0.7.
Bloody hell.
Said yesterday. And to make matters even worse, we had more shots with 9 men against Chelsea than we did yesterday. I think that stat probably goes to show how much we struggle to impact the game, especially in an offensive part.
Yeah, and it was so frustrating to see, because the one thing that you've really associated with Spurs so far this season, the ability to create chances, the ability to win the ball high up the pitch and score goals, and we just didn't see anything similar to that yesterday. And look, we scored in the first minute, and you thought, all right, we're in for a big win here, but it just didn't materialize in that way. And Wolves are the deserved winners, and our attacking line, no creativity from the midfield, which was a big part, and also the lack of pressing and the lack of individual quality from the front line as well was not evident at all. So massive lack of quality and poor display in the front line. That's what it came down to. But let's move on to the third takeaway, and that is problems out wide.
Yeah, and there was a big battle out wide for dominance, because you had Ait-Nouri and Semedo for Wolves playing the wing-back role. You had obviously Spurs we had a couple of fullbacks, but because they're inverted, the width was really coming from Johnson and Kulusevski. And when you're in those roles and you're out wide and you need to dominate those duels, a lot of it comes down to how good you are on your one-on-one duels, taking people on, your dribbling ability. And unfortunately, we really came out second best on that front. And Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson really struggled to make an impact in their one-on-one duels. And in fact, they only attempted 3 dribbles between them and didn't complete any. And when it came to Ait-Nouri and Semedo, they attempted 7 dribbles and completed all 7. So they were very much dominant when it came to the one-on-one battles out wide. And that gave them a lot more dominance when they were switching the play and gave them a lot more attacking impetus. And that was a big reason why we struggled to dominate out wide.
Yeah, and we didn't really give them anything to worry about, to be honest. I thought Kulusevski, look, he had a few moments of quality in terms of his passing ability, but his dribbling ability and ball carrying ability wasn't there for anyone to see. Same with Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson, he's going to find the space when he's running in behind, and he can't run in behind because no one's going to find him because Maddison ain't there, and there's no kind of creativity from the midfield. So it's like those cog machines, right? If one cog is out, if 2 cogs out, the whole thing becomes disjointed, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday, in my opinion. Number 4, we lost the midfield battle.
Yeah, and this is, we've spoken about the midfield in our review, and it wasn't just on the ball, it was off the ball as well, where we were second best to Wolves, and we really struggled to compete. Or if you're looking at the side off the ball, out of 27 ground duels between Sarr, Højbjerg and Basuma, they only won 10 of them. So very much coming off second best. And then you're looking at how we performed when it comes to offensively between the three of them, and 0 shots taken between any of them. Only 1 key pass between the 3 players as well, which was from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. So we really did struggle to... the midfield really did struggle to create. And look, they were missing Maddison massively, because I can guarantee you those numbers would be different if Maddison was in the midfield. So I think off the ball and on the ball, they lost it to a very aggressive and sharp midfield of Wolves. So I think Lamina, João Gomez and Bellegarde.
And none of the 3 midfielders in the team played to anywhere near the standards that any of them have been playing at all season. Højbjerg has come in and played really well every time he's been asked to, apart from the cup game. Bissouma has been one of our best players before that red card. And Papy Sarr has been a bundle of energy and played to a really high level pretty much all season. The one thing that we did that no one takes into account with Maddison is everyone talks about how good he is creatively and how good he is going forward and how he finds that space for us. But no one is talking about how good he is dropping deep and winning his duels and doing all that dirty off the ball stuff that no one gives him credit for. And I think that we missed that massively yesterday. And it's not just going forward why we miss Maddison, but we miss Maddison going the other way as well. And the quicker we get him back, the better, because I don't think there's anyone in our team that can replicate what he does going forward and going back, like pretty much the hub of the whole team, James Maddison. And when we miss that, as well as we miss the 2 centre-backs that control the game for us, we look like Conte ball again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And last but not least, the 5th and final takeaway, and that is not getting any easier.
Yeah, and look, Spurs now are going to go into the international break with off the back of 2 back-to-back losses, which is hard to take. But, looking at our fixtures after international break, it definitely isn't getting any easier. Aston Villa come up next at home, who are currently winning 1-0 at home to Fulham as we speak, and they're a big challenge for us in the top 4 at the moment. Man City at the Etihad come up after that. Then you got a London derby against West Ham, and then you got Newcastle. I don't know if it's at home, but you got Newcastle as well, who's definitely not going to be easy. So, obviously losing to Wolves, and we know it's a tough game. Don't get me wrong, and there's no game guaranteed. But given the fixtures that we have ahead of us, we really needed something out of this game, and to get nothing is going to be hard to take. And the fixtures ain't getting any easier.
Yeah, and if we play like that in any of those next 3 or 4 fixtures, we ain't going to come our way with a point, never mind 3. So, it's very frustrating. It's very worrying. But look, I think we just need to realise the situation we're in, realise that our first 11 is really good, but after that, it's not very good. And when we've got the level of injuries and suspensions that we do have, it's going to make it extremely difficult for us. And this is the reason why in the summer we weren't happy with our transfer business, because we were happy with the quality that was being brought in, but it just wasn't enough. And we knew that if we got detrimental injuries in the first 11, we're going to struggle massively for it. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So I would say that Spurs are on the right path because we've got the right manager in. We've got good players there. We just need to put good players around the good players and make it into a squad, not just the starting 11. And once we do that, we'll start seeing consistently good performances, even if we do have injuries. But right now, with only a starting 11, if we have those injuries, there's just nothing we can do. That's the situation we're in, unfortunately. And also, we're only 11, 12 games into a project. To be where we are right now, only 11, 12 games into a project is really not a bad thing. It's a good thing, in my opinion, to see where we're at and how far we've come in such a short space of time. And we've had this rebuild going on, but now Ange's here, the rebuild can actually happen. And like I said, we've rebuilt the first 11. Now we need to rebuild the squad, and once we do that, we'll be fine.
Yeah, look, we're still third at the time of talking. Obviously, Liverpool playing Brentford, but we're in the top 4. That's the aim. Everyone got to remember that. I know we had a brilliant start to the season, but anyone who really believed we were going to be in a title race is getting ahead of themselves. Look at where we are on the table. If we end up in the top 4 or top 5 come the end of the season, it's a great season. So look, you got to keep your feet on the ground and just keep looking at what the target is.
And also, if we do that and can achieve 4th or 5th this season, it'll be a great springboard for next season. Massive.
Exactly.
So, look, that is our 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your takeaways from the game yesterday?